Hello everybody and welcome to Running in Japan. I am your host Mark Antimate, and today I'm going to be comparing these two shoes, the Nike Vomero 18 versus the ASICS Novablast 5. Which one is my favorite? Which one is the one that does it all? Which one between the two comes out on top? Let's find out. Alright, at first let's start off with a quick overview of these two shoes. First, I'm going to talk about the Nike Vomero 18. This one has been my most anticipated shoe of 2025. I've been waiting for this one with bated breath to come out because I was so in love with the Nike Vomero 17. It was the ultimate max cushion shoe for me at the time, back last year in 2024, might I add. I was thinking that this one was going to be better, but is that really necessarily the case? For whatever reason, it just seems like this shoe, give or take, it is better and it is worse in aspects from the Vomero 17. You know, when I'm looking for a max cushion shoe, I want something that I could be totally relaxed in. When I say that I want max cushion as a lazy runner, what I mean by that is I want to feel like I'm walking on pillows, and I would accept no substitutes. The 17 was that. Either if you're using it just as a everyday shoe just to walk around in as a pedestrian on the streets, or if you're running inside of it, you knew that you were going to have that pillow squash, whatever you want to say, that marshmallowy type of walk, run to it. And this one, you know, as you're running inside of it, yes, it has some of that, but it is not as plush as the 17 was. And the other thing that I dislike about this one compared to the 17 is that it is a lot more narrow than that shoe. I mean, over time, you could walk inside of this and you can break it in, so to speak, and you know, you can widen it just from use. But overall, out of the box, the 17 had a lot wider of a feel to it, and you did not have to worry about this narrow toe box or just narrowness throughout the entirety of the shoe. Now this one right here, the ASICS Novablast 5, this is also a very plush shoe, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this one is definitely a lot more plush than this one is. But to say, is this more plush than the Vomero 17? Give or take, is very hard to discern that at the immediate moment, especially considering that I had sold my Vomero 17. It's very hard to say whether I think that this one is more plush than that. Let's just go ahead and just give it a tie between this and that. But when it comes to this and the 18, this is definitely a lot more of that marshmallowy feel that I was looking for. Now, I am a little bit disappointed in the 18 because this is the largest stack that I have ever experienced on a shoe before, and for it to be the largest stack but not the most cushioned or the most pillowy feeling, it just it's a little bit disheartening. You know, I was hoping for the maximum here, but that's really not the case. But this one is cushioned enough for your everyday runs, and that's what this is made for. This is made for your everyday runs. And there is a lot of overlap between these two shoes. I would say, you know, this is when you're trying to get in the easy miles. You could pick up either one of these shoes, and there's so much overlap between the two of these. But if I had to say that one is necessarily better than the other, or if I had to reach for one over the other, I'm definitely going to reach for the ASICS Novablast 5 first, and then reach for the Vomero 18 second. I guess one last thing that I'll finish up with here is that if you look at the bottom of both of these shoes, you could see that the rubber pattern or the sole pattern is very much in a similar placement here, and I find that the runs inside of these shoes, although I feel that this one is a lot more comfortable, a lot more is a bit of a stretch, although I feel that this one is more comfortable, I feel that the traction and the grip with running in both of these shoes is very comparable to one another, and I can't say that one is necessarily better than the other. But if I have to take a guess and have any inkling inside of my imagination, which one of these is going to be more durable over time, like as in which one is going to last more, I find that the rubber pattern on Nike shoes is just a lot more stable in the fact that you are going to get more mileage out of this than you will get out of this. This is going to wear a lot more quicker than this, and I'm basing that on me running inside of the Nike Vomero 17, how much my wear has worn inside of those shoes, and me running inside of the Super Blast 2, which is a very similar shoe to this, but that's based on other shoes that I'm judging these two on. But with that said, I think this one is going to win, I think. The purpose of the Novablast 5, these are very versatile shoes that cover everything from racing to training. And I want to say that you could probably do a half marathon inside of these shoes safely. If you don't want to stretch it that far, let's say you could get a 10K race in at the most. But for your everyday runs from 1 to, let's say, half marathon, I feel that you would be covered. And if you want to go that extra mile, you know, get that extension, I would say the Super Blast 2 is the one that covers you all the way from 1 to the full marathon. But I would use this for my shorter distances, and I would use the Super Blast 2 for my longer distances. And I would say that, you know, for distance sake, that this one you could get a little bit more distance than you can on this one. If you need one that's a little bit more speedier than the other, it's very hard to say. They're both very comparable to one another. But if I was going based on speed, maybe I would use the Novablast 5, but that is just me talking preference at this point in time. They're both about the same. All right, before I go off on one of my tangents, if I have to pick one or the other, I am going to say the Novablast 5 is my preferential shoe between the two. I hope that helps you guys make an informed decision on which one you should get. All right, guys, I'd like to thank you for watching this quick comparison between these two shoes. Stay tuned for me to give you another one of these versus videos inside of the future where I pit two shoes head to head and we see which one comes out on top together. All right, if you found this video informative or entertaining inside the least bit, make sure you give me that thumbs up because I do need your likes for the algorithm. Subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. And until next time, God bless. I'm out.